So here's another challenge. In a string or in a text, find the first non-repeating character. For example, the text says A, 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 B, 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 C, 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 D, E, 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 F, F, F. Here we should have D as it's the first and only non-repeating character. If there is no non-repeating character, then we have null. So what we can do is we will depend on the same like for loop condition to go through the text. Then we will use text key value pairs to check the count of repetition of characters. For example, function non-repeating takes a string. Okay, let's start our loop. Let I equals to 0, I is smaller than string dot length I plus plus. Okay, now as we said, like we need an object, so let obj equals to an empty object. What we can do here is we can say if there is or object in the position of string in the position of I. Now this is a bit strange, but what this is basically object in the position of string in the position of I. So we have this string in the position of I at first 0, so the object will have an A as a key, and this is equal to, well, this one is even more strange. Like we either have to return like a number or 0 plus 1. So what we can do, we can say object in the position of string in the position of I, so that if we have A, the value, so if we have this or 0 plus 1, but in order to calculate these two first we should wrap around braces. So what does this mean? Okay, let's start with 0 plus 1, so A will be just 1. However, if A was 1 by itself, like if it's goes again, then we don't return 0, we return 1 plus 1. So it's object string in the position of I or 0 plus 1. So if we already have a number here like 1 or 2, then we make it like 2 or 3. Otherwise we make it 0 plus 1. Okay, now here's the thing. Now we have something like A is equal to 2, C is equal to 1 or something like that. Let I equals to 0, I is smaller than string dot length I plus plus. So what we did here was we looped through the array again and we said if object in the position of string.I, if object in the position of like A or B or C is equal to 1, then return that or that key, else return null. This looks strange, definitely. However, it's kinda like one of the strange problems that we have to solve during interview questions, because here we first use an array to kinda like fill an object with key value pairs with a number as a value. Then here we have another array where if the value of one of them is 1, then we return that one because it means it repeated once. However, if this is already 1 and this makes it like 2, 3, 4, then we return null. So we can test this function by saying like const result equals non-repeating and give it a b b b c d d d and see what's our result. So we have C. It means C is the first non-repeating character. However, if we do CCC, we have null. It means we don't have any non-repeating characters. However, if we do E, then FFF, then G, we have both E and G, but only E should come because that's the first non-repeating character, and we have E. So we've tested this function and it works well. You have a loop, you populate the object with key value pairs, the letter is an object, and the value is 1, or if it's repeated like key, then the value is 2 or 3 or 4. Here we check which value is equal to 1 in order to return the key. This one is also one of the difficult problems. You have to understand it well, but like try to use like visual elements. For example, you have an array, then you create an object. You loop through this array, for example, the array of A, B, C, D. Then we loop through this array and create like, sorry, this text is behind the thing. We create a key from A which is equal to 1. So if we have, let's make it more clear, like A and A and A and C, something like that. We loop through this array, and when we have, let's make it more visually appealing actually, we loop through this array and we see the first letter is A, so we make an object that we make the key as A and the value as 1. Then when it comes to the second A, it's repeated, so we make this 2. Then it's repeated, we make this 3. Then we come to C, we see it's not repeated, we make C like 1. Then in the second loop, we see which value is not repeated, which one from this object is like 1, which value from the keys is 1, sorry. Now, why do we need the second loop? Well, because we want to check every letter like as a key of the object. If that equals to 1, then we return string.